Hi, my name is Delaney Myers, and this is my psychology and film project on Angela Norris. And the TV show is Landman. It's a contemporary drama series set in West Texas, following the lives of oil rig workers, land brokers, and powerful energy executives during the ongoing American oil boom. It's stationed here, or based here in West Texas. It just came out with season 2, and so I rewatched season 1 to refresh my brain, and Angela Norris stuck out. So my character description, she is a supporting character. She is the ex-wife of Tommy Norris, who's the main character. And she is portrayed as a socially visible and emotionally expressive within the West Texas oil industry. She's known for dramatic style. Her dress choice is obviously a little bit out there for the West. Heightened reactivity and reliance on appearances to maintain social status. She's kind of known as she's out there, she's crazy, whatever. Setting West Texas, primarily around the Permian Basin, which is one of the most productive oil regions in the United States. Setting is rural towns, these deserted oil rig looking areas. Relationships, her ex-husband Tommy Norris, they have a very jealous on again, off again situation going on. And they're still intimate even though she's remarried with a different guy named Victor. So mom to Ainsley Norris, that they're best friends, which is a good thing and a bad thing because Ainsley ends up kind of mirroring her mom's big personality and what she's got going on, which causes some issues in the show. And then Cooper Norris, he's very shy and keeps to himself. He's not a big fan of his mom because she's a lot in your face all at once, and he just works on an oil rig and he's just doing his own thing. So personally, after watching the show, I'm diagnosing her with HPD. HPD is a histrionic personality disorder, is a cluster B personality disorder characterized by a pervasive pattern of excessive emotionality and attention seeking, beginning by early adulthood and present across many contexts. Individuals with HPD often feel uncomfortable when they're not the center of attention, may display inappropriately seductive or provocative behavior, and tend to show rapidly shifting, shallow emotions. They frequently rely on physical appearance, draw attention, speak in dramatic or impressionistic ways, and view relationships as more intimate than they really are. Stigmas in our culture, we have gender and sexual behavior. A lot of people, because HPD is mostly in women, they write off the symptoms as just, oh, she's crazy, she's being dramatic, she's being attention seeking, so they don't end up actually getting treated for this, which is a big issue. Because they're oh, women are just like that kind of thing, is that stigma. And then sexual behavior, oh, that girl's just kind of trashier, when in reality this is actually part of a personality disorder. So culture diagnosis frequency. So in the yes, we have a highly individualistic, emotionally expressive, media-driven culture. So here I feel we're on the train towards just learning more about mental health and mental disorders and what that looks like. So it's more often getting diagnosed in the US because we're looking for those patterns. And it's also more common to be emotionally expressive here with your clothes and your speech and your social media, that we just see a lot more signs, and we're on that path to just diagnosing more things because we're finding out oh my gosh, there's so many different mental health issues that are just so frequent that we're just better about that. So I found a research study by Makaremi, sorry for butchering that, shows that Western cultures score higher on histrionic traits than more collectivistic cultures like Iran, and it was a whole study about Iran and high school students there, and they just low diagnosis of anything in Iran. So in contrast, those many East Asian or Middle Eastern societies emphasize emotional restraint, modesty, so they're not dressing like that. So although they might want to and have that crave to do that, they know better than to do that, and so those HPD traits kind of are more borderline, and they stay under the surface, causing less diagnosis in the collectivistic cultures. So symptoms, she always needs attention, or to be the center of attention. She's just seductive or inappropriate behavior to her husband, but specifically in front of other people. High highs, low lows, she's just very dramatic, relies heavily on physical appearance. Here she's cooking dinner and she's in this nice, overly nice outfit where her cleavage is out and she looks good, her hair is big, makeup is done, which is kind of more than necessary. Attention-seeking behavior, yeah, we get that. So example from the show, I included a link to, it's a 12-minute video, so we're not going to watch it, but every single FaceTime they have, and it's just very seductive in these FaceTime calls to her ex-husband. Yeah. So the emotional volatility appears aimed at maintaining attention and controlling the emotional tone of the interaction. We see so many different, one of the FaceTime calls in that video is her calling Tommy to tell him that she's scared that she's becoming a gilf and not a milf, which is like grandma versus mom, that like she thinks she's looking older because all she cares about is her appearance. And it was just this whole, like, she's in tears, she's in shambles over thinking she looks older, and like this is what she looks like, and realistically like doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but like that's what she cares about, right? So Frederick and Latang butchered that probably, but found that exaggerated emotional expression and attention-seeking interpersonal patterns are among the most frequently observed traits in individuals meeting HPD criteria, and these traits are strongly associated with increased likelihood of clinical referral and treatment seeking. So, yeah. Not observed, we don't really see her lie a lot, which can be a big factor coming with HPD, is like because you're being dramatic and whatever, you also can kind of like lie about facts and stuff. Yeah, they use broad global statements without providing specific information or logical structure. We don't really see that. She can be dramatic, but it's usually pretty on topic and pretty straight to the facts. She just is not caring about what the same things people are caring about. So like, yeah, she thinks she's getting older. She's not lying about that. Like, that's what she thinks is like happening, like whatever. So she's dramatic, but she's not really like making up things, if that makes sense. So treatments, individual psychotherapy once weekly for an hour is what I recommended her. Psychotherapy aims to change interpersonal patterns and excessive emotionality, and the DSM and clinical overviews emphasize that psychotherapy is the primary treatment. So that's kind of just why I went with it, is I was researching things, and it just says like this is the main treatment for HPD, so that's what she was recommended. And then barriers, like we kind of talked about earlier, is because people don't recognize those symptoms as actual symptoms. They just think, oh, she's just being a girl, she's being crazy, she's just a flirt, like whatever it is. They don't actually get diagnosed. Broader perspective, so Lanman captures like the big expressive sides of HPD. They show the exaggerated emotional displays, attention seeking through appearance and behavior, and interpersonal drama. And they see all the big lights, camera, action side of HPD, but they don't really see the fear of abandonment or the shallow self-concept that she might have underlying underneath the surface. You don't really see that part of it in the show. So that's kind of one part that's like might not be completely accurate to HPD. So maybe she doesn't actually have HPD, but that's one of the things that we don't see in the show. And here are my resources. Thank you so much for listening, and yeah.